Okay, our first step is to dry off the steak with paper towels, and I'll be back after I've got them cleaned up. Okay, our next step is we're going to be putting our seasonings on. So we're going to start with our Lowry's, and we're going to do garlic salt, and then here I've got smokehouse maple, and then we'll do fresh ground peppercorns. So hopefully I can do this one-handed. Maybe not. Set that over there. Get this off. So it pops off. So you notice here I'm covering every little inch here, enough to where I can't see the steak anymore. Okay, and we'll do a light garlic. Smokehouse maple. And I'm going to have to set this down for the pepper, so hold on. Pepper on. Then what I do is I just push it down in there. And then we'll take it and flip it over. And we're going to do the other side exactly the same way. Okay, so I've got both sides done. We'll let this sit for probably 20 minutes tonight, but normally I'll let it sit for 30. 5 minutes before, I'm going to put Worcestershire sauce on, but we'll come back to that. Now I bought a 3-pack, so what I've done is I put these in Ziploc freezer bags. I think they're the quart size, and I'll put these out in the deep freeze. I've sucked all the air out as much as I could manually, not with a machine, and that helps keep them for at least a couple weeks. Alright, we'll be back in 15-20 minutes. Okay, so it hasn't been 15-20 minutes yet. But what I like to do is go ahead and get my grill ready for that steak to be put on. So what I'm going to do is unrobe it, and we'll get it open and get it clean, and I'll show you what's involved there. Okay, so I got the cover off. We'll open this guy up, and it's kind of hard to see. I'll turn my light on here in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this cleaned up. Clean it after I cook. I let it get really, really hot, and then I scrape it down while that stuff is actually still hot, so it comes off a lot easier. But I like to go ahead and do a cleaning before I cook. So give me 1 second here, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We got our grill brush. That one's pretty new. So as you can see, the grill is pretty decently clean. All we're going to do is just kind of go ahead and scrape it down just a little bit. Make sure there's not anything that's gotten on there, even though it was covered. Doesn't take much effort if you clean it after you cook. Then what I like to do is before I put anything on is I use a high temperature grill oil. It comes in these aerosol cans. Now one thing I find, they don't last that long. So, but I go ahead and just give it a good coating, even in areas that I'm not going to be cooking in. And our grill is ready to go. So we'll be back probably in another 10 minutes and get the steak on here. Okay, we're getting ready to go and do the Worcestershire sauce, so let's go ahead and open up our valve here. We always turn this off after we're done grilling, so we, in case we have any leaks, we don't lose all our propane. Okay, got that on. Then we're going to turn our valves to high, get a couple of them going, a couple more. Alright, so we got our flames going there, you can see them. We're going to close this up, and we're going to wait until our gauge gets to the 700 mark right there. At that time I won't be able to touch it. Anyway, we'll be back here in another 5 minutes. Okay, we started up the grill, we're back inside. I'm going to be using Lee & Perrins Worcestershire, which is Worcestershire sauce. Give it a good shake. I have to set this down for this. There's a steak while I'm getting this cap off. And then what we're going to do is just lightly sprinkle it there. Okay. There's some good pooling up there. That'll soak in. Now we're going to wait another 5 minutes. The grill should be hot, and we'll be putting the steak on. Okay. Looks like we're getting there pretty close to that 700 mark. Doesn't have to be right on. So what we've got now is we've got our steak out here that's been soaking the last 5 minutes or so with the Worcestershire sauce. You can see some of the salts come off, but that's okay. It'll still be just as good. The other thing we have over here is our tongs, so we can turn our steak. So let's go ahead and get this steak on. Whew, it's a little bit hot. So what I'll do is I'll take the steak from this side and I lay it right there. And I know my grill, and so that's the area of the grill I'll put my steak on. And what we're going to do is we're going to close this lid back down. You can see how much it's already lost its temperature. And we're going to let that sit there for about 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, because I'm going to reuse this plate and go ahead and eat off of it, I'm going to go ahead and clean it and use hot water and soap. So I'll get that cleaned up and I'll be right back. Okay, while our steak is out there cooking, the next step I do is I'll go ahead and get aluminum foil that will cover the plate, and I get out my stick of butter and I cut me off a decent slice, lay that right there, put the butter away. We'll come back to what the foil and the butter's for in a minute. Before I cut anything, I went ahead and made sure my knife was good and sharp. In about 3 or 4 minutes, as you can see, maybe how it's kind of getting a little bit more gray up there on top, and we got some fires burning from the fat. We're going to go ahead and flip this over. Now, if you're cooking more than one steak, usually you flip it over in the same spot, but what I'm going to do is grab this, move it down, and flip it over, and you can see those good grill marks on it. You can hear it sizzling. Sorry, those are my tongs. Hear it sizzling good. So now we're going to do the same thing. Close it back up. See your temperature drop. Close it back up, and we'll be back. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes. You can see our temperature has gone back up above 700. Open this up. Looking good there. Now, hopefully, we got good grill marks on that side as well. So now I've done it straight. It'll help me with some other grill marks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my temperature down to medium. These guys. Okay, and we're just going to leave it open now. Now, you see there's some nasty grill marks there from where the steak was. Let this cook a little bit longer, and once we take the steak off, we'll run a little bit longer as well, and that's going to help char that up, and then we can scrape it down while it's hot, let the grill cool down, put it away, and next time we come to grill again, we'll be good and clean and ready to go. Alright, we'll be back here in a couple minutes. Now, this is the smaller steak. It's not a complete inch thick, so it's probably 3/4 inch thick, so it's not going to take as long on this medium heat to get it to the likeness I like, medium with a little bit of pink in there. If you had a thicker steak, you'd want to cook it at this point a little bit longer to get it all fully cooked the way you like it. So it doesn't look like my flash is working anymore. Got a little bit too hot to the grill, but basically I'm going to take this steak off and put it over here on the plate. And what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this back up to high heat on these. And we're going to close the lid back down. That'll burn off all that excess. And we're going to go inside and we're going to butter this up and put tinfoil on. We'll meet you in there. Okay, so we're back in here. Here's the steak. We're going to take our knife and butter and just put it on there. What I'll do is a lot of times just cut it in half. Put half over here, half over here. Now we'll set this aside. Take our shiny side. That's the non-shiny side. Set it over the top. Set it up. I'll have to do one-handed here. And get it. And we're going to let that rest for about 5 minutes, and we'll be back and cut into it and see how we did. Okay, probably self-explanatory here, but we're going to go ahead and shut down the grill. What I do is I go ahead and shut off these 3, and then I get underneath and I go ahead and shut off my propane tank. That also helps me kind of remember always to shut off my propane tank, having this habit. And then I wait until that very last one almost goes out, and then I shut it off. And now I know all the propane is out of my lines. I've already scraped down my grill, so that we'll let this cool down, and it'll be ready to do some minor cleaning and oiling, and we'll be ready to grill again the next time around. Alright, we'll be back inside with a final look at the steak. Gone through all the process. The steak is cooked. It's rested for 5 minutes under the foil with butter. we're going to unveil it. And you can see the butter's melted. Looks delicious. I'm going to set the camera down, cut it in half and get a good slice in there and show you what it looks like on the inside. Okay, here we go. And you'll see there. It's one of the morsels. I'll give this a try. Oh man, that's a good steak. Now you notice, like I said earlier, this is a thinner steak. I could have probably done without going on the medium heat and just doing the full high heat, flipping it just once. Typically with a 1-inch steak that's about this thick, you want to do that medium heat because this portion of the steak won't get cooked. It'll be cooked out here and you'll be cooked out here, but in here sometimes it'll even be raw because it creates a barrier and the heat doesn't get all the way through, so that's why you go ahead and go for that medium to get it nice and cooked through here. But with these thinner steaks, that's the other thing, you have to judge that in your grill, your temperatures. But there you go, that's a steak. Don't forget your beer. I can't see that. That's a beer. It's a deer crossed with a bear. Good stuff. All right. Well, I'm going to go enjoy. Hope you enjoyed the video.